All right, hey everybody, welcome back. And so for the last 2 weeks, you guys have been recording your dreams as best you can every morning, even if it's just fragments, whatever you can remember. And now we're going to take all those recordings that we've taken of our dreams, and we're going to review it and dive a little bit deeper into it, so to see if we can identify dream signs for us.
Right.
Take it
And
away,
dream signs are just, yeah, dream signs are just recurrent, either forms, symbols, even situations, right? In the dream, something that's recurrent. So there's obviously your subconscious is putting some value on it, right? And so it could be like, if you always dream about work, or, 4 days a week, you're dreaming about work, or, those kinds of things. Or there's always, you're always on a street, 4 days a week or something like that, or there's a stop sign. It's always nice when it's a single thing, like a traffic light or stop sign, or a certain, food place that you like to go to, or, some tangible physical place that, that you frequent. And because you're thinking a lot about it and you put high value on it, your subconscious brings it into your dreams, right? But it could just be the situation too, right? Like things that you have to do at work or whatever, or, it could even be just, maybe 3 nights out of the week, you're dreaming about like anxiety provoking things, right? So like talking on stage or God knows what, so, but you're going to review your notebook of your dreams and look for those patterns, right? So it could just be something that's a physical symbol that's recurrent, or, and it could just be something like, an environment too, right? Like the mountains, like there's always mountains in the background. I don't know why there's always an ocean there or whatever, so it's like anything that's a recurrent pattern basically. And, we call those dream signs because, if we can target them and there's already something that's recurring for you, then it makes it much easier because, again, the subconscious puts a certain high value on that compared to everything else. And so, there's much more likelihood that that's going to keep occurring in your dreams, your regular dreams, right? So we can use that as a trigger. But right now we just want to, identify them. So you want to review your notebooks, review your dreams, and find them. If they're there, if you can identify them, that's great. If they're not, no worries there. You're just going to then, again, to extend that out, right? You're going to look through your dream journal, and it's sort of the imbibing technique, right? So things that you do that are take very little time, and you're going to do them many times in the day. And so they're constantly, it's how we add value or to the subconscious, or let the subconscious know that we're highly valuing your dreams. And so if you can do it with the dream sign itself, right? You're just sort of looking at the dream, and then at that point you're sort of really opening your eyes, being more conscious of it, right? Bringing a little more attention to it. And so now the possibility is that, even when you have a regular dream after that, if you do that enough, that dream sign may jump out at you so much in a regular dream that you actually become lucid without even trying, right? Because you're just going to remember that that's of high value. And when you see it, boom, you just sort of, you wake within the dream, right? And you're becoming lucid. I mean, that's ideal, right? That's a nice, bonus, if you will, without trying to actually induce it. So, and it's very likely that that can happen. I mean, that happens a lot to people. So, but identifying those dream signs is a good way to start. And again, if you do, that's wonderful. Then just, make a mental note of it, or write it down in your dream journal, at least for those weeks. Here was the commonality between them, and that's going to become my dream sign, right? So, and then when you go to sleep at night, you'll just, ask your subconscious, you'll say, the next time I'm dreaming, which will be that night, obviously, whether you remember it or not. You dream every night, remember? So you'll just say, the next time I'm dreaming, let me see my dream sign, whatever that is, right? You want to name it. So if it is a lake, it's the lake, show me a lake in my dreams. Yeah. And, or if it's a stop sign, show me a stop sign. If it's mountains, show me a mountain. So on and on, right? And so just let me realize that in the dream. So you make it even more consistent, and you're just adding momentum to that. And those identifying landmarks within the dream, so to speak, they're going to become our triggers later on that we can attach to, and sort of, it helps to bring a focal point of your waking awareness into the dream. It sort of brings you to high alert at that moment when they become present in the dream. So, and it's just one way to induce that. So so it's a very easy exercise, but the imbibing technique is tiny increments of work, throughout the day. So, if you can get that in, 5 to 10 times a day, awesome. Where you're just taking a single minute, 60 seconds, and, you're reviewing a dream. And, you can review them all. You're adding momentum to the value that your subconscious is assuming that you're putting on the dreams itself, right? So, and the more value, the higher on the value chart your dreams become, the more your subconscious is going to engage you on that level. So, and that's what we're trying to do with that. And that's pretty much what we're trying to do with any of those imbibing techniques, is sort of, adding drip by drip, more value, more attention, more awareness to the aspect that we're imbibing at the time. In this case, your dreams, we're trying to make them of a higher value than everything else in your world. So your subconscious will engage you on a much more practical level there.
Awesome. Now, another thing that we had talked about was like, if you have like 2 weeks worth of dreams written down, and maybe you haven't identified what a dream, what's a commonality between your dreams, something that's like a recurring theme or a place or person or thing or whatever it is. You could go to sleep with that question in your mind, right?
Sure.
Or a question in your mind to ask your subconscious, what's a dream sign for me? What's a recurring theme? Like really make it stand out, correct?
Right. As long as and you can use the term dream sign as long as you're very clear on what it is. And a dream sign is just a recurrent symbol, whether it's a situation or a physical object, or, an object in your dream that's recurrent, right? So it's just a recurring theme or a recurring object in your dream. So, as long as you're clear in your head what that is, you can literally just use that and ask, say, you go to bed with that question, what is, a dream sign for me? And, you're asking that question and then repeating it over and over again as you fall asleep. That's the best way to do it. Just keep repeating it until you fall asleep with that question. And then remember, when you wake, you're going to write down whatever dream you have, and you're going to look at that. Now, might not actually realize it on that one, right? Unless it's something that you can say, oh my gosh, I forgot all about that green car that I had way back, my first car or something like that, right? And so I have had other dreams with that car in it. It must have been really precious to me at the time, the first of anything, right? So, and so it could bring that up. And so then you use that, right? But maybe it's just something and you're like, oh, it's a green car, but I've never owned a green car, or, it's no big deal. So then you're going to ask that question, recurrently, night after night, and just collect the dreams, looking at the dreams through that filter of, what is my dream sign, and looking to see if there's anything in there that has a recurrent theme. And that's how you build it that way. So either way is fine. You can do it that way. I would say, there are other ways to do it, but those are good ways to start.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it is.
I'm actually looking forward to doing it. I know a few of my dream signs already, things that are recurring themes, but going to sleep with that question in mind, I think will produce some interesting results. So we'll do that. And then I like that imbibing technique as well, like throughout the day, because it's so common for me, like, waking up in the morning and writing down my dreams, but then it's that kind of thing where you have the dream journal, or if you do it in your phone or whatever, it's like it completely disappears from your consciousness for the rest of the day. It's not forfeit at all. It's like, yeah, that happens when I wake up in the morning, and maybe a little bit before I fall asleep again at night, or whatever. But in that time during the day, it's not of value. It's not of importance. It's completely out of focus.
Well, we get sucked into our normal waking world, right? And all the things that are swirling around us here, our work, our family, our all of these things, right? And they take priority, and obviously they should, right? But it's like, how do we sort of, put these threads of our other work in there to sort of amplify them, right? It's like, okay, it holds this position. It's not as important as getting that, report that's demanded by the boss done in 15 minutes. But, after that 15 minutes, as a reward, I'm going to review a dream, so we work it in. So it still has value, right? It's like, oh, it's so valuable. I want to do this. So I'm going to make it a reward too. So I'm going to even give it a higher value as a reward, right? It's like, oh, I get a piece of candy after I do this work. And so, oh, after I do this, finish this, report, I'm going to review my dream, because that's my reward for this. And so it bumps it up and gives it even higher value. So we're always trying to find ways like that, that we can, the things that we're working on, we give it a higher value standard, in the hierarchy of values within our subconscious, right? So we're always trying to, add weight to that.
Right.
And like you said, I mean, instead of asking the question, if you have a dream sign, instead of a question, you're going to make it a statement at night, right? Tonight when I'm dreaming, show me my green car in this, in this thing or whatever.
And what's the value of doing that? Why would we want?
Because, we're going to, you're going to increase the number of times in the course of the week, or the course of the number of dreams in a week, because you could have multiple dreams through the evening, right? So you're going to increase the amount of times that dream sign is there, right? You're making it a priority. And when we make that a trigger to become lucid, you're going to have more and more opportunity for that to come up. So we're increasing the chances, basically. If you're getting that dream sign 100% of the times, and then you tell yourself, when I see my green, tonight when I'm dreaming, when I see my green car, I'm going to become lucid. Mm-hmm. And your will is online with that, you've trained it to do what you say to do, then you're going to have that much more chance of becoming lucid when you see that. You're going to have opportunity after opportunity, maybe several a night, really. So, I mean, that's really, we're stacking the deck in your favor, basically. That's the idea. Step by step by step, we're stacking the deck to make you successful as much as possible.
That's a really good point. Because I've done that induction technique, which we will go over later, but like you said, eventually this dream sign will become a trigger for lucidity. And like I said, I do know what some of my dream signs are, and I can't remember a single instance where I ever had a dream sign make me become lucid. And so my dream signs, at this point maybe happen once or twice a week or something. So that makes so much sense, that we want to bring that intention into our dreams when we fall asleep at night, and try to increase the number of times that we have that dream sign. It's a weird thing for, it's such a different way of thinking about it, though. It's like, I want to get to the lucidity part, but here we're saying, figure out what your dream signs are, do that research, and then try to just increase the amount of times you actually see that. It's like you're already projecting that, again, you have control over your dreams even before you become lucid. You have some influence on the content that's there, which is really cool.
Right. And I mean, if you think about it, I mean, everything that we're doing these next 2 weeks is sort of incremental, right? We're training ourselves to think in a different way and to value in a different way, right? So we take this thing that's of sort of no value, right? And we tell ourselves we're going to remember to do this thing that has no value, and we remember, right? And we do this training to remember something of no value. Well, again, if I told you, if you get a chance, pick up this at the hardware store on the way home. It's like, okay, if I get a chance, it's not a big deal. I'll get it on the weekend if you don't. And, you could not remember. It's because it's of no value, right? It's like, okay, but I'll forget if I get busy or whatever it is. And so, but, if it was something really important that has value, right? It's like the odds are that you're going to remember to do that. And the more value it has, the more likelihood it is that you're going to remember to do that, right? If somebody says, call me at 5 o'clock and I'm going to hand you $1,000, You're gonna freaking remember. You're not gonna have to write it down on your phone, right? All day long, you're gonna be going, "Oh my God, I'm gonna wait. Is it 5 yet? Is it 5 yet?" You're gonna increase this, into because it has value for you, right? And so we're training, in the beginning to remember things that have no apparent value. And you do that. You're training your will to do that, right? So how much easier is it going to be to remember to do something that has high value? And how do we make it have high value? We add more and more momentum to that, right? We make it more valuable, right? It's like, oh, if I can, if I only see this twice a week, well, that's twice a week that I might be able to get it. If I can increase that to 3 or 4 times a week, awesome. If I can do it 3 times a night, that's 3 times a night I have the opportunity to make that trigger happen. So, putting those things in place, incrementally, we're stacking the deck in your favor to make it easier and easier for you to have more and more and more opportunities to get in there and wake up. And so, that's the method to the madness, basically, so to speak, right? So it's like, once we know the context of it, it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. That makes sense. Let's give that a whirl and see. So, it's not to put more anxiety on people. It's to say, like, look, there are ways to do this. This is not hard. It's very simple to do it. It's just, it's not easy because nobody's ever said this has high value. I'm putting it out there that this has extremely high value for you. So, and you're going along with it, and you've had the experience yourself, but it's been erratic. So I'm saying it's even higher value if you can do it consistently. And then it's a whole new realm that opens up from that. It's like, before it was just sort of like, oh yeah, it's fun. Wow, it's wild. It's whatever. But after that, it's sort of like, yeah, well, it has not much value because that doesn't happen very often. Okay. But if we can train you to do it on a regular basis and make it consistent and make it so that you can do it at any time, higher and higher and higher value. And especially if what you do there is just, again, there's value to having fun. There's value to relaxing and having an adventure and feeling good, right? And with no strings attached and doing adventurous things. And all of that stuff has value. It does have value, right? And then after a while, but if it has value that carries into your waking world, if it has value that carries into your life and making your life better, man, I don't know what's of more value than that, so it's like, and to show you that this is not hard. It's a very consistent mindset and a very consistent path to getting there with these little increments, so that you can see, oh, I can do this, I can do this. I just need to put some attention on it and I can make this happen. And then, then the adventure continues, right? So right. We go from there. So
makes sense.
That's how it works.
And I'm so glad we're actually doing this way, because I can really relate to that it feels like dreaming is not that valuable, even though I know that it has the potential to be from all our conversations and everything. It's like, but subconsciously, in the deepest part of my being and how I act in the world and the level that I actually do these practices, it's like, well, I don't have that deep feeling that that it really will actually impact my world in that positive a way. So I like what you're saying. It's like we build up that importance through our experience, and this is that first step of doing that. So
right,
that makes so much sense. So so how many times would you advise us to imbibe that simple technique of just reading one of our dreams and seeing if we can find more dream signs, or bringing our attention to the dream signs that we've already discovered within our dreams, reading them basically, right? Just
obviously, if you're reviewing your dreams, that's going to be, one session, probably, you might take 30 minutes to do that in a day, right? Or maybe an hour at some point, if you have a lot of them, you're going to review them and looking for the commonalities, right? It doesn't really take that long. And so, but if you're, when you imbibe it, either imbibing those areas of the dreams where the dream sign appears once you've realized what it is, or if you don't find one and you're just reviewing your dreams, I'd say, again, minimum, I'd probably try to do 1 minute 5 times a day, throughout the day, right? Or, anywhere from 5 to 10 times, I think is like, really spot on, right? So it's like 5 times minimum, and of course anything will help, but 5 times minimum, I think you're really getting that amplification of value, right? And that's what we're really trying to do with this. And so if it's the dream sign, you're just reading that segment that's the dream sign, right? So you're recalling the whole dream, but it's that dream sign that really sort of wakes you up, right? Putting some extra emphasis on that. And that's it. And you go from there, right?
Cool. All right. I think I can do that.
I know you can do it. Just do it.
Yeah, totally. All right, cool. Well, thanks, man. I think that'll
Great.
wrap up this segment, and yeah, we'll keep going. Thanks.
Perfect.